alarms set so early? Oh, there's a new episode of the Lost Context podcast. Episode 26. Why was my alarm set so early? Is that me? That is me. I just did this. Oh, there's a new episode of the Lost Context podcast. Episode 26. What the hell? Why was my alarm? Alright, this needs to stop. This is gonna go on forever. That is me. I just did this. Oh, there's a new episode of the Lost Context podcast. Episode 20. Whoa. That was kind of meta. Whoa. That was kind of meta. On this episode, we have Chris Riley.
Yeah, there's nothing I love more than making fun of Canadians.
Wesley Sullivan.
Well, I think Mike Lee should be added to the court so he can turn America into a Mormon theocracy.
As always, I'm Bruv Brinsworth.
All of our dick and fart jokes are gone because Tim's not here.
And our new host for the day is Jared Jaramillo.
Like, the reason why the patriarchy won't be overthrown is because women fucking hate each other.
And now we drop you without context into the Lost Context podcast.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Jaramillo.
Oh, I was way off.
No worries.
When we start recording, I'm just gonna pretend like I didn't hear that, so I can butcher it.
Okay, no, it's fine. I'm surprised when people get it right. It catches me off guard more than it would.
You were gonna say Jaramillo, weren't you?
So are we technically officially started? Or are we just gonna keep this in? Then I might as well just say it. I thought it was Jamilio. Like, what's the dealio, Jamilio?
I mean, that's like a really cool black guy name, that's for sure.
There isn't even an I at the end for the O.
Jamilio Estevez.
Yeah.
I thought Jaramillo. I was closer anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could
Jaramillo Figaro.
Because how come they don't call you Hothead?
Look, I've had that same discussion with my parents too, and they just straight up don't give a shit. They're like, they just Americanized the fuck out of me, man. It's like, it's crazy because like all of my relatives, all my older ones, like they can speak Spanish fluently, and you know, I'm sure I sound just like a fucking regular ass white dude. It's like, it's
pretty much.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But I don't, yeah, they just didn't give a shit, you know. And I'm like, fine. But I did the same thing to my kids too, so I gave them some names with J. Well, just one of them has a name starts with J, so kind of fucked her over with that. But I'm like, look, no one's gonna get it right anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Okay, well, I'm gonna call you Jared Jaramillo.
Okay, I like it.
You sound so white.
It's just what happens, dude. Tony Hawk Pro Skater fucked my life up, you know? It turned me onto the ways of the white man, and I never looked back. I mean, there's things about, like, Mexican culture that it's like, I don't know. I just always think that, like, collectivism in general is just kind of a goofy thing. And then there's, like, a lot of annoying shit that people of my ethnicity do that I'm just like, you know what, I'm not one of these guys. Like,
so you cited Pacific time when I told you the time. Are you in, what state are you in?
I'm in California.
Okay.
The terrible golden state of California.
So you want to host the show tonight, Jared?
No. Yeah, sure. Our first guest tonight is Wes.
This is Wesley, by the way. It's certainly not Brian posing as Wesley because Wesley's mic was off and Brian forgot to hit record on his Audacity program until later.
I don't know. How's everybody doing, man? You guys enjoy your 4th of July?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't do much. I just mostly tried to keep my dogs under control and and went to sleep.
Same here. Like that was pretty much my whole 4th of July was staying indoors to keep out of the heat and cradling my 100-pound dog like a little baby. Because
Are you allowed to shoot fireworks in California where you're at?
Just snakes and sparklers, dude. Just the sucky ones that don't go off the ground.
Oh, okay.
I mean, people still get them. I mean, Nevada's like, an hour and a half away, so you could easily get all that shit.
See, we're not really in city limits. We're kind of out in just outside, and so we're allowed to use anything short of C4, really.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, there's been guys, they started selling them more local. Before it was like, you can't get anything. Like, they would fucking, you just couldn't buy shit here in the state. But now they started setting up like little stands, and it's just like bullshit, like Piccolo Pete's and stuff. But oddly enough, these guys will tell you how to like fucking rig these things up to make them into explosives and shit. So like, turns out guys who work at fireworks stands are willing to blow shit up, and they'll tell you how to maneuver around the laws to make your own explosives out of the crap they have you on the counter.
Yeah, I always like the thing where you cut like an X into a tennis ball and then load it up with a bunch of match heads and like maybe an M80 in there.
Yeah.
And then like tape it back up and then you throw it against a wall and it just fucking explodes.
Yeah. They're telling us basically like this. The one I could really remember is because it was the easier one. This one didn't involve like fucking third-party chemicals and shit. The guys just like break up a Piccolo Pete with a hammer and just wrap it up in duct tape, and it basically turns into an M80.
Hey, are you recording, Wes?
What's that?
Are you recording yourself?
I am, huh? Yes.
Since the moment that you arrived?
No, a few minutes. And I was getting my mic out as I said hello, so.
Oh, okay. I'd forgotten to press record on Audacity, and so if I missed anything that you say, I'll just dub it in myself.
Okay. Well, you'll have to pretend to have an even softer voice.
Not higher, just softer.
Just do it in the Bishop Hammer voice.
Oh, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah, the craziest fireworks show I've ever been to is we went about 40 minutes to a different city from where I live, and they had these independent people that just go around, and I think if I understood it correctly, they would go around and put on shows for people in cities and stuff. And then there were hot air balloons and stuff. It was some kind of little mini festival, but I guess from what I heard, they'd like pooled all their money together just personally and just, dropped it all on as many fireworks as they could get. And then they went out to this field. It was some dude's farm, and they just lit them all off. And like, it was like about, I don't know, half an hour of just constant explosions in the sky. There was no room to breathe, no break. It was just the whole time. Every once in a while there'd be it'd be crackle, 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 kabang, and you'd feel, and we weren't that far away. We were only probably, I don't know, 400 yards or something. And then, so you'd feel the impact, and it was just absurd. It was like the most redneck fireworks show I've ever been to.
It just like fucking turned daylight for 20 minutes and shit.
Pretty much. I have video of it. I should post it in the group.
What's up, everybody? Brian here, just adding this quick edit so that you can hear what the fireworks sounded like. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll throw it in visually too so you can see what it looked like.
Is that all you got?
It went on with a steady stream like this for, I don't know, it seemed like 15 to 30 minutes somewhere in there.
So they're on like a fucking firework tour? Like they just like booked fucking firework tours and like just hit the road and shit?
I don't know how it worked. It sounded to me like people can contract them to put on shows or something like that.
That sounds pretty rad. That sounds a lot better than playing in a fucking band and going on tour.
Yeah, growing up, there was this one kid in my neighborhood that it was like a regular suburban neighborhood, except there was this farm right in the fucking middle of it. And the kid that lived in that farm, his parents had a fireworks stand too. And we would always go over there and have sort of like Roman candle wars. And light the Roman candles up and like shoot them at each other. Like right at each other's faces too. It's like back in the 80s and 90s, people didn't give a fuck. And then one year we were doing that and it caught their field on fire. And like 9 fire engines had to show up.
That's what happened to my mother's fields this year. So I had a pretty good day on the 4th. You know, we went to a rodeo and a few things. And I was watching the city's firework display, and I got a call that there was a fire on my mother's property, and I guess a bunch of people had been lighting off fireworks on their own, like right next to a dry field of alfalfa, and it was awful. But
you steal anybody's wife while you're playing fireman, Wes?
No, not yet, no, but I'm technically a fireman, so I might.
That's like super American to go to a rodeo on 4th of July.
Yeah,
you're just looking for ways to reconnect with your electrician lover boy. You're gonna there'll be a fire and you'll go to after the fact they're gonna be like, we need to figure out what's wrong, let's hire this electrician, and he'll be like, oh yeah, this is it. And you'll be like, oh hey, remember me?
By the way, I'm growing a beard and I'm home brewing my own beer now.
Mormon beer.
That's a market that really should be exploited. There's not going to be much competition.
It's true. It's true. Very little.
Are you in Utah?
I am. Southern Utah. Yep.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Just a couple hours drive from Vegas. So.
Like Ogden or like Provo?
Oh no. I went
or
to
am I totally
school up to. Ogden is in the northern part of the state. That's where I went to university. But I live in St. George. It's one of the southernmost cities. So.
Yeah, I've been there before. There used to be a band that my old band played with. I think they're called Inaviate. I believe that's where they were from.
Oh.
This was a long time ago, though. But yeah, they were really good dudes, and that was a pretty cool city. I can't remember the venue that we used to frequent over there, but I'm pretty sure it had a giant sign on the wall that just said "people." In all caps.
I'm trying to think what venue that would be. Was it
I'm sure
indoor?
it's long gone. It was indoor. It was a little
indoor.
place. Yeah.
Oh, was it the
I think it was an
Electric
all-brick building.
Theater?
That sounds like it.
Okay.
That might be it.
Yeah,
There was still the discolored part where they had to scrape off the letters "no colored."
Yeah. Yeah, see, they let me slip in because I booked the show with just my voice, like we've said before, so, they didn't know until I showed up. They're like, oh, fuck.
They're like, oh, dagnabbit. They take their hat off and then stomp on it.
Yeah, no, people in Utah are legit, scared of brown people. It's crossing the road type of shit. It's just I don't think we look like we're intimidating guys. Fucking, the dude singing for us is wearing girl pants right now. Come on.
yeah, it's...
Well, that'll never fly in Utah. Girls aren't allowed to wear pants.
Ankle skirts only.
So the only thing that I would say while you're hosting this podcast is at some point you got to cut us to commercial.
Okay. Oh, so you guys got sponsors and shit, huh?
Well, we
sort of.
No,
we just make them up.
Is this a Blue Apron thing?
We make our own commercials. And it's important that we get this one in because I've been promising Chris that I would I'd run his O Canada adult toy shop commercial.
Okay. Oh yeah, here we go. Well, folks, we appreciate your time. We're gonna go ahead and take a word from our sponsor.
Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Oh, Canada. Hey, it's Cliff again from Oh Canada, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada's premier adult novelty store. This week, I'd like to tell you about our large selection of lingerie. We have bustiers, corsets, stockings, thongs, and a whole assortment of crotchless undergarments. All made from the finest flannel. Available in plaid and real tree camouflage. They'll never see you coming. So remember to come check us out at Old Canada.
Welcome back to the ASMR podcast. Today we're going to be talking about politics and some of the things that have been happening. Trump just nominated a new Supreme Court choice, but here's what I think about it is, like, when you really process that information, I think the Supreme Court choice may or may not be good. You don't know. It's really going to depend on how he feels about the topics. Anyway, next time on the ASMR podcast, I'm going to talk about how you can stimulate your partner's clitoris better. See you then. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack.
Okay, welcome back to the show. We hope you enjoy the goods and services our sponsor is offering you, and you are a patron of their business. Tenfold. Yep. Spend your whole fucking paycheck there.
So, dude, I wanted to ask you about your podcast, because I went and listened to an episode, and I was looking through. You had them archived, and I thought, there are a lot of episodes. What did you say? 8 years or something?
Yeah. Well, okay. So we did a separate show for a while, and this is like 2008 or so. And that one only lasted for maybe like a year and a half, and it was terrible. It was like there was like 9 of us all sitting around a microphone screaming at it. And then eventually like that just kind of died off because people stopped showing up to do it, and I was just kind of like, I'm not gonna do this on my own. Like some time passed, and then one of the dudes, Cameron, the guy who did the last show with me, just he wanted to start doing one again, and I kind of wasn't really doing shit. Like the only time I really do podcasting is like if I'm not like doing music or anything like that, because it takes up a lot of fucking time, Right. So we started doing one, and it lasted. I think we did that one for about like 4 to 5 years, but we stayed pretty fucking consistent. So that's kind of why we kind of made a point to like make sure we do this every week, because for some reason I'm like, we're gonna lose listeners, even though it's like we don't even really have that fucking many in the first place. We have like 300 to 500 steady subscribers. That always fluctuate depending on if there's a holiday or some shit going on or something like that, but yeah, fucking fake internet radio, man.
So what you're saying is we're about to experience on the Lost Context podcast the Jaramillo bump.
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I don't really have any more internet juice anymore. Ever since Twitter stopped being a dick and fart joke platform and used for fucking social justice and bullshit now, I can't really pull the numbers anymore,
Yeah, I think dicks and farts are probably racial slurs now.
Pretty much. I mean, you can make a joke about jizzing on someone's face, and you'd have a good handful of retweets. But nowadays, it's just unless you're saying also fuck Trump in there, then you're not getting anything on that.
Well, that's all right. You can just add that as a standard hashtag.
Yeah, I mean, I'll share it, of course, and but I don't think I wouldn't hold my breath and expect to get anything out of it, guys. I'm sorry.
Trump 2020 hashtag fuck Trump.
Speaking of Twitter, we just basically started a Lost Context podcast Twitter, and we've gotten all the way up to, I mean, it's just mind-boggling, the numbers that we've gotten. Like, we weren't ready to handle it, and so we are up to, let me even check right now, as I even open my mouth and speak these words.
We broke the internet, basically.
We have 23 followers. Make sure, Brian, to cue in the applause noise after I say that.
No problem.
You totally bought those followers.
Well, like, pretty much it's just us and whoever has been a guest on the show that has a Twitter account.
That's funny that you'd think we'd invest any money into this podcast.
No, I got you. I mean, I didn't do the same thing either. And kind of like, I could use that as an excuse of being like, nah, dude, it's punk rock. Like, whoever wants to find the show will just find it. We're not going to promote this thing or put any money into it, which is just my way of being like, okay, if this sucks and nobody pays attention to it, at least I can just fucking fall back on that.
To everybody listening, of course, that was just a joke. We need all of your Patreon funding. We have very, very good use for money, and we need it desperately. No, actually, Tim has been our sugar daddy. He's been paying for the promotions and stuff, and I've just...
Does Patreon do they take a big cut out of like what you guys make off of them? Is it like a 30% thing or higher than that?
I'm trying to remember. I'd have to look that one up.
I mean, it seems like it's got to be a fair amount since so many people are starting to use that platform for various things. And
if I remember correctly, they recently jacked it up too because they were like, we need more money. They gave a reason, like a added value type of a reason, but I think they just raised their take.
And what is it like these like the web hoochies use it for? Like I see Instagram models all the time, like subscribe on the Patreon. I assume it's nothing nude, right? I think you can just get tits for free on anywhere else.
$10 a month, I'll take my socks off. Give you a private show.
Oh wow, we're up to $26 a month.
Well,
Patreon.
half of that is Tim.
Oh, okay.
Because I was paying for the Podbean account for the most part, and then he decided to kind of lift that burden off my shoulders. That whole $14 burden.
Wow, I can't believe they charge that much just to put content up. On Podbean. Huh.
And I think we're gonna have to shell out a little bit more too if we want a separate one for Dungeons and Dragons, but that's not very interesting to the listeners right now. So we can discuss that later. No, it's
yeah.
It's Twitter is a weird sort of a platform. I have mixed feelings about it.
No, I totally agree.
I've been liking it better than Facebook lately.
Well, it's you're all about,
not that that's a high bar.
You're all about those one-liners though.
I literally use Facebook specifically just for the fucking CLC group. Like that's it. And because that has become what Twitter used to be. You know, like it just fucking off on the internet. Like it's like this is what this is supposed to be for, and for finding out if I have like a weird like HPV thing, if I have a dry spot on my dick or something. Like that's it. And sending money through PayPal. But
and
yeah, like Twitter,
getting creepy offers from Wish.
Yeah. I've never used that fucking website. I don't know why I get these insane fucking ads from those guys.
The stuff it always looks like total shit what they're selling. I don't understand it.
You're cutting out pretty bad, Wes. Well, I guess it won't matter because you're recording yourself. But so my mom, she's
so we won't understand what you just.
Yeah,
said,
we're gonna have to just
the listeners.
It'll
will.
be a surprise. My mom had a sewing kind of a. Well, it was a sewing business, but mostly she did like, what do you call it? Alterations. She'd do she'd do alterations for people, and so she's retiring. Let's see what day. Oh, she retired on the 6th to do some other things, but right before she did, she had this guy bring in some clothes for a wedding, and it was this crazy suit that he'd gotten off of Wish that he found on Facebook, and it was like kind of a novelty suit, and I don't remember exactly how she said it was designed and stuff, but she was doing these alterations because it was pretty shittily made. It didn't fit well, and then she found out later it was actually kind of a cosplay wedding that they were going to, and there was like any sort of fantasy you could dress up as, and so she just was doing like the pants or the coat or something, but then she saw the full pictures of like the full outfit, and I don't remember what it was, but there were like wizards and all sorts of stuff in this wedding.
Until you said pants, I pictured this suit was kind of like a Halloween costume for a little kid. Like it's made out of that real thin like nylon shit, and then there's 2 strings in the back where you tie it.
It might have been a pirate. I can't remember. But yeah, she said it was pretty low quality, and I thought that's about what I would expect from Wish.
Yeah.
It's all the stuff that you'd expect to see airbrushed on the side of a van in the 70s.
Just like a sweet fucking late 80s metal band album cover.
I don't think I would order anything there that was over about $20.
I don't think I'd ever buy anything that costs more than a firm handshake from that website.
And then you wash your hands afterwards.
Yeah, immediately afterwards. So can one of you guys fill me in on what the fuck the Kind of Funny prom was or is?
We don't pay attention.
Okay, all right, because I keep seeing that thing pop up, and I thought it was a joke at first, but it looks like it's a real thing.
I was seeing it pop up too, and then I saw pictures I still follow Greg on like Instagram and stuff, and he was like hanging out with fans
to stalk his wife.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason.
They like got a VFW hall and all fucking wore like wish suits to this thing. What the fuck? Like,
So I'm gonna.
I don't know.
I'm gonna assume.
Look,
that
like
was,
the whole like.
I'm kind of assuming that was a replacement for Kind of Funny Live. Is that? Were they just doing something different?
The best friends. I don't know. You know these best friends. They're always doing best friendy shit.
Oh, hey, I got an idea. Okay, so if you're on Twitter, follow us at I don't even know our Twitter handle. That would help. Follow us at The Lost Context, and then tweet to us what the Kind of Funny prom was, and that way we'll know.
Okay, so I'm looking at the price for tickets. 60 or 70 for general admission, and then VIP admission was $250. What the hell are they offering for $250? Like,
I mean, I charge my best friends that price to hang out with me too, so. It's so fucking, I don't know, man. Like, when all this split happened with Colin and those guys, and it was like, very clear of like, okay, like, I have no interest in paying attention to anything these fucking giant 8-year-olds do from here on out. And then, like, everything I see is just progressively more and more fucking weird and, like, childlike, and it's just like, fucking grow up already. Like, I can't imagine, like, Greg Miller's much older than I am, but he's got to be, like, in his mid-30s by now, right?
Yeah.
I believe he's 33 or 34.
Ah, fuck. Or whatever. I mean, they're gonna do whatever they want to fucking do anyway, so it doesn't matter. But I don't know. Just that whole like microcosm of like San Francisco and even like all those guys who like give Colin shit, like that Bob Mackey guy and stuff. And I'm always just like, how come Colin just doesn't cruise up here and just beat the shit out of this dude? You know, like, or how come it hasn't happened yet? I guess,
mean,
like,
have you seen him?
I saw a picture that somebody shared of him in the group one time, and he looked like a very limp-wristed fella.
Yeah. I don't see him beating the shit out of anyone.
But, like, I don't know, that's just kind of I guess that's the differentiator from, like, San Francisco compared to any other part in California, because, like, in LA, people just beat the shit out of each other all the time. It's just like that everywhere around here.
That's an interesting notion. We should actually, like, kind of get a picture of him from, like, when he first moved to LA, and then wait 5 years and get a picture of him then and see if LA has changed him.
Yeah.
Just your whole physiology would change, being in that much danger all the time.
Well, he was right. Are you talking about Colin?
Yeah.
He was right across from an Italian place. He might have gotten fatter.
Yeah, that's true. And then plus in San Francisco, you gotta stay, like, you know, sort of thin and dexterous to be able to avoid all the shit on the streets.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you really have a choice over there where fucking every plate of food costs $25.
He's also he's also on the wrong drug. Marijuana makes you want snacks.
But it also makes you not want to get off the couch. So, like, everybody thinks that smoking pot makes you get fat, but a lot of times it keeps you from eating because eating is work.
Not with Uber Eats. Yeah. He should be doing what? Speed?
Well, yeah, that's if you want that LA body, you got to do the LA drugs, you know. Or just take a shitload of pills. I think that's like real popular right now.
Can't find out any information about this prom.
Well, if we got to buy tickets if we want to find out. So everyone listening, go to the Patreon.
We're having a Kind of Funny prom. If you would like information about it, just send us $250 and we'll let you know when it is, where it is, and how much to get in.
You guys should try to have someone from the CLC podcast infiltrate this thing and crash the fucking prom.
Oh, that would be wild.
Spike the Kool-Aid. Time travel and make out with your mom in the parking lot.
That would be fun. That'd be fun to do some infiltrations. Well, like...
That was a weird way to jump in there.
That could be
literally the last thing he said was make out with your mom. Oh, that'd be fun.
Someone clip that out, please. Thank you.
Now, did you guys podcast?
Might have wanted to let that settle just a little bit.
Did you guys podcast before doing CLC, or is this everyone's like first crack at this stuff?
First crack.
First crack.
Now that we're in it, I'm doing 3. So
yeah,
it's one of those.
Yes, the beauty of podcrafting.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is the 27th episode. something like that.
Correct.
And so we've been doing it for about 6 months.
No, maybe 26. Hold on.
And then you guys said you do a Dungeon and Dragon one too?
We're getting into that. We haven't technically announced it, but we have talked about it several times on the show, which pretty much means that we have actually announced it.
Yeah, so to people, all the massive number of people who have been anxiously waiting for our D&D podcast, I'm hoping to get it launched in the next couple of weeks. And I could probably do it in the next week, but I want to make sure that we have all of our social media platforms and everything ready to launch. So I'm guessing probably 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Basically, we're trying to bank some episodes first, so that way we won't later on have to delay episodes when, for whatever reason, we can't record or, some other bullshit happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, knowing me, I'll probably do it all the night before. Be like T-minus 4 hours till launch time, and I'll be scrambling to set up a bunch of platforms and do the graphic design. And
so you guys are gonna you'll play a whole game and record it pretty much?
It's kind of a game, but it's gonna be more storytelling in for the sake of the podcast.
Yeah, I've never played before, but I was always in the impression that those last about 7.5 hours, give or take.
There's some that do, but not us. We're much too short attention.
Yeah, and it really is kind of on Tim's shoulders because he's the storyteller, and we don't know exactly where he's going, and it's a bit of a collaborative effort. So we could throw him some curveballs, and he'd have to work with it.
And several,
which comes naturally for him because he actually has curved balls.
And then what was the other show that you do, Brian?
It's a local one.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it relatively of interest for anybody that would happen to listen in from outside of our town, but most of the people on it are regional. Oh,
okay, cool.
Yeah. He was shooting for an even smaller market than we have.
That's right. Although, anything, the benefit of a small town is if you do anything that's related to that small town, everybody sees it, everybody shares it, and everybody jumps in. So even if it's just population 20,000, it's 20,000 viewers you've got that you wouldn't have normally had.
Oh shit, dude, that's opposite of my fucking town, because we got 23,000 population, and everybody here fucking wants every new business to fail. They talk shit on any type of local events that happen. It's just a bunch of shitty people. We're just but these are my shitty people, so I don't know. Fuck.
Most of the people that grew up here shit on the town, but there's a pretty good business network of people. So usually, if a business does something, all the people around them will share it.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we had this weird thing where the city hall was full of people who were related to business owners. So anytime there would be anyone that wanted to open a new type of franchise or bring a new type of business there, they're my cousin fucking runs the burrito place, and we're not gonna have competition. So totally, yeah, it just totally stunted the economic growth locally, and it's just, fuck. It's just. I guess the town gets what it deserves. I don't know,
Yeah, there's definitely downside to a small town doing business because, just the other day, I went to mail something at the post office, and then I looked over. I heard a very familiar voice, and I glanced over, and it was my head housekeeper from the hotel that I fired for stealing from the company.
Oh no!
I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't see me.
Yeah, my local mail guy's my arch nemesis, pretty much.
Oh.
Yeah, he fucking...
It's kind of an awkward situation here. You get a text, Amazon's your package was just delivered. It's not there.
Yeah, this dude will straight up just tell me that I have to take shit back because, I didn't pay an extra 3 cents on a fucking label. It's that type of shit. One time because I run a little tape label and I shipped out an order one time, and they sent it back because I used a fucking priority mailer, even though I blanked out everywhere it said priority. It was just white and red. It's all you can fucking see on the... They sent it back because they said it wasn't the right label. Or I didn't use the proper fucking postage. And then it was signed from the postmaster. I'm what kind of fucking ego trip is this guy on? The postmaster. The postmaster general. Go fuck yourself, dude. So all I did is turn it inside out and fucking reshipped it.
I think that U.S. Postal Service is just ridiculous, and I hope they go bankrupt, personally.
Oh yeah, well, Amazon's saying that they're going to start their own. I'm like, fucking do it. Please do it.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I already get like 90% of my stuff from Amazon anyway.
Yeah. We should just let Amazon take over.
I don't like monopolies, but I do like efficiency. So
yeah. That's the thing, is like Amazon does everything better than everywhere else. So it's kind of like when Toys R Us is closing and people are fucking acting like they gave a shit. It's like, you know, you didn't shop there. You didn't spend the extra 20% that all that shit costs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We're getting to that point. You've got, you know, Google and Apple and Amazon. There's just so many companies that are just, and Disney. They're just rising to the top, and Netflix. Pretty soon they'll be able to dictate whatever they want.
Yeah, like for Toys R Us, I think the last few years anyway, it would just be a place to go and just get ideas, and then you'd buy all the shit online anyway.
Yeah, you just price check it and shit while you're there.
Yeah. It's like, all right, you know, kind of pull the bikes down and ride them around in the store, and then, you know, play with the little foam bats for a while, and then like, oh, put that back. We're not buying anything today.
Yeah.
I do that with,
like
there's the Grommet. It lets you, there's a bunch of unique handmade stuff and local made, like not like independently made stuff and weird items. So I'll go there when I'm looking for birthday gifts and just kind of browse. And if I find something I like, I'll jump on Amazon and buy it.
It's like an actual storefront called the Grommet?
It's a website.
Okay, so it's kind of like Etsy or something? A little bit?
Pretty much. It's a little bit more, like Etsy is more like the people control their own place, almost like eBay. But the Grommet's more like we make the site and feature your products for you.
Okay, yeah, because I sell mixtapes on Etsy, and they completely fuck me over all the time with the cuts they take. Like they're like, hey, here's a deposit of $90, but we're also gonna take out $120. So I don't know, go fuck yourself.
Jeez.
Yeah. They like give you like a window, so it'll be like, once you owe us $300, we're gonna take that $300. Instead of them taking like a little piece off of every sale you make, they wait till you like hit your quota, and then they charge you for it.
I don't like that.
It's a very abusive drug dealer type relationship, I guess.
Yeah.
Jared, I have to ask, are your mixtapes, are they what the kids today call fire, by chance?
Usually they consist of songs that people choose, which is a lot of that fat Hawaiian guy singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. There's that one Bright Eye song that everybody and their fucking mom loves, The First Day of My Life, I believe.
Long Live Is.
Yeah. So pretty much like all this, like people send me a track list, and then I put those on a tape and paint it the way they want it, and then that's it, you know. But it's funny, man, because most of the time it's the same types of songs over and over. I'm just like, fucking vanilla ass people. Like, once in a while I'll get like someone will like, you know, they'll send their own stuff, and that's always like, all right, that's kind of cool. Like you wrote some songs for someone, like you want to put it on a physical format. I appreciate that, you know. Vast majority of the time, though, it's usually like the same 20 songs rotated out on everybody's. But hey, I make more money doing that than I ever did releasing independent bands and anything like that. So fuck it.
We're kind of seeing on the Monopoly topic. We're kind of seeing that with YouTube, where people are getting frustrated, but there's nowhere else to go. They're like, we want to be done with YouTube, but they're stuck with it.
Well, is this Instagram thing worth a shit? Instagram TV or whatever the fuck it's called? Because I keep seeing people talk about it, and I've seen the icon on the app, but I refuse to click on it because I don't want to go down I don't want to learn something new.
I played with it
Well, that's the problem.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
You know, we'll get pissed at shit, but we won't actually do anything about it.
Yeah,
you know,
you're the problem, Jared.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's.
I should probably find something else though, because my youngest daughter has commandeered my YouTube account with Peppa Pig videos, so my recommended section is very fucking strange.
No, we should talk about IGTV because it's very different. They're talking about comparing it to YouTube, but it's super not. Like, it's Instagram videos, but in a longer format, and it's it doesn't seem like you can share it. Like YouTube is so shareable across all platforms, but Instagram TV seems pretty restrained to its own location. And the other thing is it's all vertical, so people are trying to find workarounds. Like they'll black bar it to make the widescreen fit in a vertical format, or else they'll rotate it sideways so you have to flip your phone, or else they'll just have these, sometimes they'll just zoom it in so you can't even read some of the text across the screen because it's all cropped out. So you're supposed to, it's really bizarre that they're asking people to take this extra step, because you're supposed to you got to re-render all your videos. Basically, if you want them on YouTube and IGTV, you're going to have to render 2 different types of videos, and maybe exclusive to IGTV only and not on YouTube. So it's bizarre. It reminds me of Apple saying, we're cutting out the USB and you got to get all these dongles because we're forcing the industry to convert.
Yeah. And it's not like live shit, right? Like, it's not like you have to watch this shit live in archives on there. Like, you can subscribe to fucking I don't know, Scooter and the Beaver or whatever. You can just watch their shit whenever they post it. Like, it's not like, oh fuck, I gotta pull over on the side of the road so I can watch this live feed.
Correct. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure you can do live on there, but yeah, you can just upload any video. It's basically like what Instagram already had before. It's just a long form. They're doing 10 minutes for normie people, and then they're doing half an hour or an hour or something like that for people with tons of subscribers.
Oh, okay. They're golden children.
Right. Yeah, we'll see if they do anything. I suspect that they're going to adapt and make some changes. I don't think it'll stay this way. Although, I don't know. Instagram's pretty weird. They held that perfectly square ratio for pictures for a long time before they let you do rectangles.
Yeah. It also seems strange that you would think since Facebook and Instagram are essentially the same thing these days, like why they would use this as their base platform, not just use Facebook.
Oh yeah.
But then again, like, I hardly ever use Facebook on my desktop, and when I do, I'm like, oh god, like, this fucking is a horrendous looking interface. It is such a fucking ugly, shitty, unusable website to use on a desktop.
Yeah. Although the worst I've ever seen that I can recall off the top of my head is Reddit. Reddit on a desktop is so bad.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking Kindle, like the black and white screen Kindle type of shitty. And I didn't think any website could get worse than like eBay. It's just pretty shitty, But like, yeah, but fucking Facebook and yeah, Reddit, they look like, it seems like they go out of their way or something.
Yeah.
And even Apple to a certain extent, like fucking iTunes, man, like. Because for a long time, I was still listening to the podcast on a fucking iPod Shuffle. That was like my go-to thing, just because I was like, I don't want to use my fucking phone battery. I was just being an asshole about it. But I would always subscribe to everything through iTunes and sync it through, an iPod Shuffle like that. But yeah, that fucking it's such a bad program.
Man, just think about that. Like, it seems like so long ago removed when you would have just a dedicated device for just listening to music, and then you'd have your phone and just whatever other fucking thing, and now it's just like, yeah, everything's in one. People are like, I bought a laptop recently and I never fucking use it, and like, for as expensive as it is, it's a piece of garbage and I hate it. And I have a good phone that I do absolutely everything on.
Yeah, but how much was your phone really?
Granted, true, $1,000.
Yeah. Your laptop was what, $500?
Yeah. Still, the laptop isn't even half as good as the phone is the problem, and it doesn't, like, it's not like I make calls on my computer. It's not like I keep it in my fucking pocket.
It really depends on what you're doing, because I write my story. I need a keyboard on my computer. I'm editing videos. I'm doing graphic work, and you just can't do all that on your phone. Not easily or conveniently.
You've seen my memes. I do good graphic work.
Listen, your memes are funny because you're funny, not because they're good. not because they're good photoshops. I will give you that you milked your stupid phone for all it's worth. Making memes.
I think I will always have a computer of some sort just for all media shit. I mean, I haven't had fucking TV, like a subscription, since like 2012. I use other means to get it, but yeah, I gotta use that for like the media center thing and all that type of crap. So like, I feel like I'll always have a computer, but I primarily just like, yeah, if I'm just fucking off on the internet, I'm just using like my tablet or my phone.
Yeah.
The only thing they could do better is fucking copy and paste. I don't understand why touch devices can't figure that shit out yet.
Yeah. And actually, I'm not super happy with... I know you don't like Facebook's desktop interface, but I actually don't like Facebook's mobile interface.
That's fair.
It's just... I think the biggest reason is it's a little glitchy right now. You know, sometimes, and lately it's been like comments won't load, and I have to click the time, the time on the post to reload it, and it's really weird.
Yeah, they banned me from their marketplace.
I made a post earlier today, and I'm pretty sure I, clicked the actual post button, and then hours went by and nothing happened. I was like, come on, it wasn't that retarded. And then I went and looked for it. And I only pretty much, post in the CLC group. So I go and scroll down there, and I keep on scrolling and scrolling. I'm not seeing it. I was like, oh, fuck, maybe it got buried by the algorithm. So then I searched for it, and it wasn't in there. And then I, searched all of Facebook for it, and it wasn't in there. I was like, okay, I guess it didn't even fucking post then.
Who banned you
from
I
noticed
where?
that. They banned me from the marketplace on there. You get, it's like Craigslist built into it.
Were you making
these motherfuckers?
Were you making dick and fart jokes?
No, I was cruising for dudes. No, I really don't fucking know what happened. For some reason, they wanted a photo of my driver's license before they were gonna let me back in. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
What do you guys think of the video platform Facebook? Oh God, no! Oh, my microphone just tipped. Oh, that's not good.
Well, we hear you better now than we ever have since you joined us.
What do you think of the new video platform Facebook is trying to? Well, I mean, they have it going, but I don't think it's super popular yet.
Facebook video always pisses me off.
Yeah, I don't see the point in it. I mean, they're all 1 to 2 minute videos. And if I'm gonna click something,
now it's playing Guess the West.
it's not gonna make.
We'll just respond to whatever we can guess that Wesley's talking about.
Yeah, Wesley, I think you could call him back. I don't think your wife will mind. He's just an electrician. Facebook used to embed YouTube videos and Vimeo videos so that you could play them in your feed, and even SoundCloud and everything, and then they just took it away so that you'd use theirs. So frustrating. So now all you get is you post from YouTube, all you get is a thumbnail. You got to click on it and leave the platform, which is also baffling because you wouldn't think that Facebook would want you to leave the platform. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. A lot of times too, for how you're saying that their app's kind of been janky lately. I've had that where I go to open the video and then I try to open it externally and it just won't go anywhere. So it's just, yeah. So it's just a fucking crunched YouTube video playing inside of a Facebook browser window.
Yeah, I've had that.
The one thing they did do though that I admittedly liked a little bit was when they introduced the live streaming shit, because I was watching my friends just fucking walk around their house. I'm like, this is fucking reality TV right here. But that too, of course, that quickly dropped off. People stopped fucking with that within a week, I would say.
The only good it's used for is just Alex and his CLC reports.
Yeah, or seeing Jalen's nipples.
Yeah.
Just watching cops beat the shit out of minorities on Facebook Live.
There you go.
There you go. That's a good.
Actually,
thing, you can get it live streaming. So even if they take your phone, it's still out there, and so that they can't take that away.
The best thing about Facebook video that I can think of is Tim's Milwaukee group.
Yes.
Oh yes, that group is phenomenal.
You never know what's gonna show up on there. You got body painting. You've got people trying to sell stuff. People doing booty pics, filming parties. It's just wild.
Street fights.
Crazy.
Lots of street fights.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah, it's called The Real Milwaukee, and it is.
I'm gonna have to look into this.
Yeah, it's the whole Milwaukee #1 is what it's called.
Oh, the whole Milwaukee. Okay.
And the number sign is it's a hashtag, as the kids call it these days.
I guess
Number
that's the whole
signs.
WHOLE, not to be confused with the whole Milwaukee, which is probably a page for a strip club or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. You never know what's going to show up in that group. Lots and lots of fighting. Lots of black women's wigs getting yanked off and police getting called.
Sometimes you gotta snatch a weave. Well, okay. Well, speaking of like cops and Facebook Live and shit, so I'm very confused. I know white women love to act like they are the fucking pioneers of minorities and all this type of shit. Why are they all keep getting fired for calling the cops on fucking black people? Is that what's going on? I think Tony shared something about a lady calling. Some dude put his feet in a pool with socks on. she called the cops on him.
I mean, granted, if you do that, you do deserve to go to jail.
Yeah, I never think anyone
I'm
should
as
be thrown in
anti-statist as you could possibly be, and like that is the one hill that I'm gonna die on.
Yeah, you never throw anyone in a cage until they do some shit like that. Then it's.
I mean, just like that's like one step away from you're murdering puppies in your backyard or something.
It's just crazy. Like it's to me it's a little bit more bizarre that the cops even fucking respond to half these calls. You know what I mean? Like they show up and shit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like what the fuck, dude? Like you can't just tell someone to like just hang up on someone. But like I don't know. To me, it's a little crazy that like I don't think that like these women should actually just like lose their fucking jobs. Because they wanted to be cunts. Like,
yeah, here's the headline. White apartment manager fired after calling police on black couple because of socks.
What a fucking time to be alive.
Yeah.
I can't remember where this popped up, but somewhere I recently, it was on Reddit or something, somebody brought up the idea that there are feminists, but then there are now a million other new genders that are minoritized. So are there going to be like demisexualists?
Don't give them ideas. Good Lord.
People fighting. I don't even that like. I'd have to look up what other genders are called, but it seems like they all need advocates for equality.
I ran across this term the other day, and I know that, well, if we had a bigger audience, I'm sure that I would get a bunch of shit for not knowing what it is. But it's like TERFs or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently it's a feminist that is against trans people.
Right.
And,
yeah, I've heard of that.
Okay. Yeah, like, I saw it pop up quite a bit since I started on Twitter. So there you go. You get on Twitter and you get exposed to all this, kind of weird shit that doesn't need to exist, but it does anyway, so you have to just deal with it.
Do you guys think if we let the feminists just fight each other, they'd eventually just fall apart, and then the patriarchy can take our place back at the top?
Take our place.
I mean, they already do.
Why, Wesley?
Like,
you're insinuating that we've lost it.
It's a problem with just and this is gonna sound a certain way, and I'm sure my wife can hear me in the other room and she's gonna be pissed at me for saying this too. But there's a problem with the reason why the patriarchy won't be overthrown is because women fucking hate each other. They don't get along. They all talk shit about each other. Even when they're fucking like on their Patrice O'Neill, the Beige Phillip show, Dante Nero, he refers to this as bitch politics. This is what he calls it. Where he's like, it doesn't matter like how feminist like women could be or how much they act like they have each other's backs. They're never gonna like put their bullshit aside to actually do something worth a fuck because they fight too fucking much. I mean, I see it constantly, man. I see like girls that are like just randomly talking shit about some other girl that's like 5 feet away from them just because she's wearing a fucking shirt she doesn't like or something like that.
This is why.
It's like
This is why Jared said he had to stop his podcast because he said the world was making him too angry. I have a feeling he went to his doctor and they were like, checked his blood pressure and they're like, oh, you need to stop this podcasting.
Look, Mexican people don't go to the doctor. We just put Vicks on ourselves and drink Sprite. Then we feel better.
So, like, I heard that they're making an all-female version of what was that movie and book where the kids are lost on the island and then had to survive?
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Yeah, they're doing an all-female version of that. And, I'm not against that. I'm sure that some people will... I'm not going to judge any movie before it comes out. But there's already a baseline of jokes that you can make from just the premise alone.
Yes.
Where, in the first, movie and film, they killed the fat kid because he ate all the food, and nobody else got any and everything. And this movie, it's like, oh, we killed Becky because did you see the way she looked at Darla?
Yeah. I can't believe she wore those shoes with that skirt. That stuff doesn't really... I don't like the whole outrage with the whole Ghostbusters thing. To me was kind of it's a fucking movie about catching ghosts. What are we talking about? It's whatever.
Well, what I liked about that outrage is it made the movie better for me after the outrage died down and I finally watched it because I expected it to be bad, and it was decent. It was an okay movie.
Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Any movie's good if you set your sights low enough.
Exactly.
I have 3 daughters, and my middle girl loves Ghostbusters, and I loved it when I was a kid. So she wanted to go see the movie really bad when it came out. I took her. She dressed up as a Ghostbuster to go see it. She had fun. It was cool. I was like, yeah, this is fine. I snuck in whiskey. It was great.
A nice outing with your daughter, and a bottle of whiskey.
The theater's just down the street, but
Have you guys seen the hidden? It's like a flask or whatever that's hidden in a fake baby that you can bring to sporting events that you wear on your chest. It's a fucking baby hammock, and it's got a little straw that comes out of the baby's head. So all you gotta do is kind of lift up the little hat, and it looks like you're kissing your baby's forehead and shit.
Yeah, I've seen that thing. It's pretty awesome. I'm gonna see if they got one on Wish later.
Oh yeah.
I think my favorite fake flask was the binoculars. I don't know if you've seen those.
Oh yeah.
Because it's who the fuck has binoculars anyways? Just going around town. You know what I mean? You have to be at a specific binocular related type of fucking event, like a NASCAR thing, or you're looking for an eagle or some shit. You're not gonna just be walking around the fucking inner city with binoculars, unless you're trying to look in the windows or something like that.
I could just picture passerby women being like, that guy is so sweet. I wish my husband loved his baby as much as he loves alcohol. Chris, you said you don't remember any of your topics because you never write them down. Well, I actually wrote one of your topics down.
You did?
Yeah. You mentioned that...
This'll be fun.
I don't remember where you posted it, but you mentioned that China now is offering up a death laser.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's like a laser AK-47. And I don't know why they even bothered putting AK-47 because it's a laser rifle. They don't need to just appropriate the, Russian Kalashnikov name for it or anything like that. But this thing, apparently can catch things on fire after pointing at them for I think it's about
2.5 hours,
less than 10 seconds. Yeah, but it'll light shit on fire from almost a half mile or a half kilometer away.
Wow.
And and because it's a focused laser, it's not like the blasters that you see in Star Wars or anything. You don't see the laser, so it's just pretty much they got their scope and then they point this fucking death baton at the thing. And a few seconds later, it catches on fire. So if that was implemented in the field, you wouldn't know where you got hit from. Just all of a sudden, you'd be like, "Oh fuck!" And your ass would be on fire.
I love the tactical advantage of that, but I do think that they should add a attachment so that you can add a visual element to it, just in case you want that.
But then that would just give away your position, and you'd get shot by bullets that are effective much quicker, but, obviously aren't as cool.
I don't know. There's an intimidation factor. They might be like, oh shit, they have lasers. We gotta move.
Do you think aiming would be a problem? Not being able to see where the beam was going? Or I guess there's...
Well, no, because it's a laser, so it goes exactly, there's no sort of range drop. It's not going to be affected by wind or anything like that.
Yeah, this thing's...
if you got your target in your scopes, it's fucking lit up.
Yeah, it's got a scope on it. Although, I'm trying to figure out how that would work. It seems like seems like it could still, even though it doesn't have an arc, it seems like it could still have a range effect on it.
I mean, plus it's fucking lasers. It's not like you gotta like carry some more laser ammo. You can just fucking go crazy on that trigger. Eventually, you're gonna hit something and light it on fire.
It's true.
Yeah.
Here's a picture of it in the Discord chat.
What powers it? I mean, I don't know.
I'm assuming electricity.
A baby.
A baby
It's got a cord coming
out of those wheels.
It's just got a cord coming out of its head.
It looks like one of those industrial plungers.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a. It's not what I would
Big
pick.
ass flashlight.
Yeah, it's not what
It's kind of not as cool as I was hoping it was gonna be.
Right, it's not as sci-fi looking as you might think.
Looks like just like a big ass flashlight.
Right.
On the end.
They should make pocket versions.
Yeah, I mean, eventually this is gonna go to Zippo technology, or e-cigarette technologies, or some shit like that.
There you go. Sonic screwdriver. Yeah, I can picture that. It'd be a good, women see an attacker coming, they just, boink, bzzz.
Burst it, just light them on fire.
You want to arm the feminists now? Okay, I see how it is, Brian.
Anybody know what he said?
Nope.
Damn it.
But anyways, it was cool that this gets revealed almost like less than a week after Trump announced that we have a space force.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, you got a space force, but like no actual space vehicles or any way to implement it, and nobody in your country actually wants it. And that's funny. Here's what we have: actual lasers. Good luck, dude.
Could you take these lasers into space? Would they even work?
Oh, lasers would absolutely work in space. It's guns that are going to have a problem working in space.
There wouldn't be, you wouldn't be lighting things on fire, though. Would it just burn a hole in it?
Yeah, it would just burn a hole in it or whatever.
Why wouldn't guns work?
Guns would work if they actually were to pack oxygen within the powder of the.
Oh, gotcha.
The stuff in there.
I see.
Well, would projectiles move the same way in space, like with the gravity? I don't know.
Yeah, your bullets would work like the lasers do. There would be no arc. Unless...
Yeah, one other thing about firing a gun in space also is that every time you shoot that gun, a little bit of that force is going to push against you too, and there's nothing grounding you to anything. And so you're constantly going to have to be making thrust corrections and all that.
Would you like to make your oorah joke again, Chris?
Oh, yeah. So, when the Space Force came out, I tweeted, in space, no one can hear you go, oorah.
Well, it sounds to me like the only defense these guys are going to be able to actually use in space is going to be some type of martial arts or swords or some shit like that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, realistically, we shouldn't even delude ourselves into thinking that the Space Force is going to have anything to do with space. What it's actually going to be is because we have a Space Force now, some other Middle Eastern country is going to be a threat to space. And we have to.
That's it.
And we'll have to have drones and boots on the ground to defend space from these evil villains.
So here's a thought. What if it's a fake out? So we're announcing a space force. So suddenly all these third world, these Middle Eastern countries start investing all their money in this space stuff that's not even usable on the Earth, and then we just come in and wipe them out because they stopped building guns and stuff, missiles and.
Well, most of these countries have no money to even attempt that, and then also. Every other country in the world learned the lesson from the Cold War, where we already did that. We faked we're going to have this big space, military presence with the missile deflection and the Star Wars program, and so the Soviets started building up their military with hopes to be able to keep up with us, and then they crumbled, and then now everybody is wise to that game except for now us. Which we're doing it to ourselves for some reason.
I want to go back to that swords idea because I'm picturing Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon fights through low grav.
Yeah.
Running across little branches and stuff, or like, the antennas of spaceships and such.
Yeah, I'm thinking like a Halo sword,
Yeah. I like
And for
it.
some reason, everyone's
Except
fighting
you-
over those glowing green rocks from Nickelodeon Guts.
Yeah. But what happens when you jump at your target and then you miss them with your swing and then you just keep on floating away in that direction forever?
I mean, I think we all know what's really going on here. We're just gonna act like we're doing this, and what the plan is to send all the refugees to space.
Yeah, the Pentagon just didn't have enough places to just completely lose track of trillions of dollars
Yeah.
as we now have it, and so we needed space to be able to lose trillions of dollars more.
I really do wonder how much of it is marketing, though. Just using positive sounding jargon that gets people excited, like saying the word Space Force, and everybody's like, "Whoa!"
Oh, he's
interesting."
absolutely bringing it up for that. Trump is trying to build a legacy for himself. I mean, with the
And then why not?
thing.
He's 70 years old. He's about to kick the bucket. Like, and just screw around. May as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he doesn't take very healthy shits or anything like that. But it's funny, like, did you mention that, like, him building up the name for himself? Because I think about that, too. I'm like, okay, like, how is a history book going to look in 50 years? Like, are we going to have, like, pictures of 90-pound fucking Antifa wusses getting punched in the face in books? Like, or is all this shit just going to, like, go by the wayside? Like, is it even going to be talked about? Like, just
I don't even think there will be really history books anymore, because, I mean, there's just so much shit. And, like, to be able to parse through all of it to, like, come up with any sort of coherent narrative. Because, I mean,
you
we're
got a good
living in
point.
it right now, and there's no coherent narrative. What is it?
I mean,
gonna
yeah.
be, 50 years from now?
You could argue that we're making a piece of history right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a frightening thought.
Like, what it's going to be is, like, if some kid is going to, internet space school in fucking 2050 or something like that, and he opens the book to, like, 2015 onward. Like, basically the chapter's just going to be, fuck! And then it'll be followed by, like, just hundreds of pages of memes. And
Yeah.
that'll be how people learn their history.
I was listening to Dave Rubin had Eric Weinstein and Jordan Peterson on recently, and one thing that Eric said is he talked about the fact that YouTube and internet videos were on the rise, and they were making things hard for TV news programs and, like, even journalists and stuff. And so in an act of desperation to keep viewers and keep money rolling in, they would start using clickbait and more sensationalism and trying to get views. And it's led to a lot of fake news, and it's led to a lot of hysteria that's not very, And so he was saying, in order to combat this, what we need to do is actually give people like Vice more money so that they'll actually pay good people to do good work and not have to be so, desperate. And I thought to myself, that's not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
what it'll do.
Vice just
It's a wonderful concept in theory, because you're almost like reverse engineering the problem and trying to backtrack. But what it'll probably do is they'll be like, finally, we're onto something. Like, all this hysteria and sensationalism and fake news has got us some money. So let's do even more and make more money.
and make a couple wheat cookies.
Yeah, they also they also have this, like, romanticized view of the past that people so easily fall into, where they think there was a time where the press was, good and legit. It's like there were some people that were, and most of the people that weren't, and through the, on throughout history.
Yeah.
It's like, there was just so much less access to, actual information back then for the normal person to be able to call the press out, because that's really all there was. Like, even
And Vice
back in,
just-
like,
Vice just did that same
Go
shit
ahead.
to Jordan Peterson. He did that interview with, I can't remember who the fuck he did it with. They cut it though, like it's just the same problem they say with all that stuff. Like, the reason why people flock to long form conversations with guys like Jordan Peterson or even like Joe Rogan or whoever it is, it's because, these guys could talk for 3.5 hours long form and actually make their point. It's not cut down to like a 30-second clip where they can kind of edit it whatever fucking way they want to.
That's funny because actually in the interview, Eric Weinstein mentioned that somebody had come up to him and they're like, we've learned that people are trying to do more long form, and so we're going to start doing that with ours. So we'd like to offer you to come on our program and we'll give you 10 whole minutes. And he's like, 10 minutes? Like I could get 3 hours in it. They're like, 3 hours? We can't do that.
They want it easy.
I like the idea of like long form stuff. Oh, sorry, Wes, go ahead.
They want easy digestible stuff. They want headlines and stuff you can put on a tweet. That's all they care about.
Right, Wesley. We understood you. No,
Tonight's episode will be the Lost Convex.
No, I agree. And it's like, it seems backwards to me because they're trying so desperately because they think it should work, and yet here are these guys making bank off of these long form 3-hour videos. So it's like it's just weird. It's like, why don't you go to where you see that the money is? Yeah,
exactly. And then I always feel like their way of taking it down, which it kind of works, and it seems like they're trying to do this with Jordan Peterson now, is where they, instead of going after his arguments or going after his ideas, they go after him as the individual. They go after, they just make biased attacks at him as a character, and then that's when people kind of stop like paying attention to what he's saying, and they start like looking at him more as like an IP type of thing, like I feel like that really happened with not like Milo Yiannopoulos was a fucking smart guy or like I agreed with any of the shit he said, but he went from being like someone who was making arguments to being just a fucking character, Mm-hmm. They kind of did the same thing with Shapiro.
Although admittedly I do think that Milo contributed a little bit to that. So I was talking to my buddy came over from Pittsburgh for 4th of July, and while I was talking to him and trying not to make eye contact, we were we were discussing the subject, and he brought up the idea that why don't people like the New York Times just sponsor guys like
New York Times?
Yeah, that's what you got to call this episode, New York Times.
Why don't they sponsor guys like Dave Rubin because they see that he's being successful and he's got an audience? And I thought it's the same as what the craft beer industry went through with the big three. They just come along and like, we want 30% of your company, and we'll give you all the marketing and promotion that you can ever dream of. Like, okay, you know what I mean? And I'm sure that there's a political issue that's preventing them from doing that, but it seems like that makes sense. You just go to the YouTubers and you're like, you can put our brand on your name, just like a hotel using Best Western or whatever. Here's some, guidelines and stuff to, adhere to our brand, but we'll fund you. Keep up the good work.
I don't know if you guys can even hear me right now.
Now we can, yeah. At this very moment, yes.
But would they control what guests Jordan Peterson or Dave Rubin had on, or say Joe Rogan can't smoke pot on air? I mean, how much control would they have?
Exactly. Yeah, it's the nature of the beast. I think some people would jump on it and some people wouldn't. And that's exactly what happened with the craft beer industry. Some people would say no to that. We want to be independent and do our own thing and be free. And other people were like, all right, we'll take the money.
Yeah, that's the biggest difference, because the reason it's advantageous for the craft beer company to take that offer is because it actually puts their beer in front of a much bigger, market.
Right.
Where, I mean, because of YouTube and stuff, like, these guys already have the biggest market in the world.
No,
why would it's not going to be advantageous for them at all to take the offer from the, big media companies.
That's an interesting point.
They can easily just be like, fuck off, I'm making my own money, I'm fine.
Unless you find an up-and-coming, that's desperate to get in. Because it's hard, man. It's oversaturated. So if you could go to an up-and-coming and be like, all right, we'll put you in the big time and put you on the league with these other, guys, I think there'd be a temptation.
And they no doubt do that, but then that's what, causes these on-air personalities to lose their soul and just fucking become the rest of the, people. There's been pretty good people in the past that have just slowly just degraded to the point of what they are now, or they're just not taken seriously.
Yeah, that's always the issue you run into. And it's the same in the movie industry. You get producers that can give you a big budget to do what you want, but then they dictate and there's too many cooks in the kitchen. So, I don't know. There's always a balance.
I kind of think that, in my opinion, that I really don't mind there being just, you know, a handful of guys that you can like you can count on that are dependable, opposed to like everybody having a fucking voice about everything all the time. You see that with like late night talk show hosts and everyone. It's just everybody is a fucking political expert all of a sudden. You know, even the fucking idiots that I went to high school with all of a sudden know exactly how to fucking deal with illegal immigrants. You know,
Yeah.
where you know, I kind of like the idea where I'm like how you said like. Maybe it is oversaturated, but I feel like maybe it's one of those situations where like the cream rises at the top. You know, like the guys that are actually making compelling arguments are kind of the guys that we're seeing more often than not. You know,
That's valid. Although I do like that the benefit of everybody having an opinion is that a lot more people are actually learning. I think there are a lot that aren't. They're just spouting shit off. But there's a lot more, and even myself, like. Just with Colin's Last Stand and getting into political discussions, I had to brush up on a lot of stuff I didn't know, which is good.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, you make a good point. And really, like throughout all this stuff, like the whole, you know, this whole last election cycle, and things where I was even like a little bit more like leaning to the left on, you know, with just the abhorrent behavior that those motherfuckers like always expose themselves as. Like it's pushed me like so far away from that group of people that. It makes me like you get a little bit more like you said, like informed on these issues, and then like you're a little bit more like lax when you talk to people if they actually want to have the conversation about it. You know, you could be like, look dude, I used to agree with you, but here's where they fucking changed my mind on it.
I laughed so much to myself when I remember when I was a teenager, and it was such a popular thing. Every voting season you'd hear all these boomers being like, remember to get out there and vote, the young generation needs to start voting, pay attention, be responsible. And then as soon as all my generation started voting for Bernie, all the boomers were like, stop! Why?
Yeah, but it's weird that it's such a shift of that, because when I was like a teenager, and of course like, you know, like more left leaning back then, of course I was like, you know, oh yeah, liberal shit, whatever. The biggest appeal to me from the Democrats was how anti-war they were. You know, they're anti-fucking authoritarian, they were anti-cop, they were against like any type of foreign intervention, and that shit is so fucking like not even on their radar anymore.
It's gone.
It's completely gone. It's crazy. But yeah, that was always like the big thing, you know, because like I was like, I think a sophomore in high school, like when 9/11 and all this shit happened. And then I start seeing guys that I know from school, like, joining the military as soon as they fucking graduate because they're ready to get some fucking revenge or whatever because they attacked our freedoms and all that shit. And it's like, you know, my whole interest with that stuff was trying to figure out, like, well, why the fuck are we getting our towers blown up? Like, you know, there's more to this fucking story. It's not just, I find it hard to believe it. They just don't like your freedom, you know?
Yeah, that was always like, I can't believe that fucking worked for so many people. Like, oh my god. It still boggles my mind. But yeah, it was so interesting too that like the latest darling with the Democrats has been the Ocasio-Cortez.
Yeah.
In what was it, New York?
Yeah.
Okay, and so she ran on a strict anti-war platform, you know, amongst her other, you know, things, and that was probably one of her only really good things about her. And then as soon as she gets elected, it just disappears off of her website, like it never even existed. And it's like, there you go. You know, it's like no matter who you vote for, and I can't take credit for this quote because it's actually Tom Woods that came up with this. But no matter who you vote for, what you actually get is John McCain, where you're just just enough of a Democrat to be like shitty on you know, domestic and spending issues and everything like that, and just enough of a Republican to want to be at war with everybody on the planet and spend a bunch of money over that way.
Man,
that Tom Woods is a sharp fella.
You take Tim out of one of our episodes and we lose all of our...
Oh yeah, I was just thinking about that too. I was like, oh shit, like this is such a like fucking...
all of our dick and fart jokes are gone because Tim's not here.
Oh yeah. But you know what? It ends up being like the kind of polar extreme to when we have Eric on an episode. It becomes the complete opposite. Yeah, well, let's keep this train rolling. Trump's going to have a SCOTUS pick pretty soon. And which doesn't... I'm sure there's a scrotum pick joke there, or scrotum itching joke, but, it's just much too on the nose to make it. And
that's what you do. If you're too on the nose, you just reference it almost like, neutrally. Like, I could make this
your
joke.
Own joke here. Yep, joke Mad Libs, basically.
Was Napolitano still a prospect, or?
I don't think he was ever really a prospect, because, I mean, if Trump was to actually, put him up there, it's just, there's just tons and tons and tons of on-air time that Napolitano's talked about stuff. And basically, in the modern era, to get somebody put on the court, they have to have the least amount of information publicly about them possible. To just be like, okay, well, we can't find anything we don't like, so I guess he has to go through, kind of thing. And it's really shitty. But I'm on, my personal thoughts on it is that he should not even fill the seat. It should be an 8-person court, if they can't, break the whole, sort of left side, right side on any sort of issue and end up deadlocked, then it shouldn't have, any sort of tiebreaker anyway, one way or the other, in my opinion.
That's a good point.
But, that's just me.
I personally think, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, a little bit. Not great.
A little bit. Not great. Never mind then.
Well, I mean,
this is gonna be great, on the actual episode when we have the real audio.
Yeah.
And just everything Wes says, he'll either have to give up on, or he'll say it and then we kind of pause for 3 seconds and then nervously laugh.
For the sake of your own audio recording, I think you should say it anyway, and then if we want to reply, we'll just try to get people to sign up on Twitter.
Well, I think Mike Lee should be added to the court so he can turn America into a Mormon theocracy. That's my dream right there.
Well, that was a nice experiment. And,
didn't hear me?
We got nothing out.
Somebody's gonna turn.
No, we can hear when you're talking. It's just that nothing that you're saying comes through to where we can hear any individual syllables.
Something about a Mormon theocracy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I heard you say Mitt Romney for SCOTUS.
No. Mike Lee. Oh, now.
Yeah,
well,
but,
I did dig up you guys did bring a topic if you could come up with one. So I do have one.
Oh, right on.
And it's not really related to politics or anything.
Good.
But so far this year, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me or not, but I feel like every form of media just kind of sucks right now. I haven't heard one album that really blew me away. I haven't seen one movie that I really liked. I feel like every TV show just sucks now. I wanted to know, have you guys come across anything this year that you think is worth checking out, or that really made an impression on you, or is there anything that you're looking forward to coming out? Video game, movie, TV, album, anything like that?
Oh boy. See, here's the issue is that I have been short on money and I've been falling behind in movies and stuff, and I have been creating too much content, too busy to listen to music. So I'm really behind all the times. My buddy that I was just mentioned, he installed his Vudu account on my Roku for a little while so we could watch a movie. And he's going to take it off, so I tried to binge watch as many as I could. And I got in both of the Kingsman movies, which are insane. And then I got in...
yeah, they're good.
I got in Chris Nolan's... What is it?
Dunkirk?
I got in Dunkirk. And then I got in Wonder Woman and Logan. So I had a good movie weekend. Catching up on stuff. Yeah, they were all good. Wonder Woman, it kind of petered off at the end there a little bit, but it was strong for the most part. Logan was... I didn't cry. Shut up.
Man, I cried twice during that movie.
I bet I can guess both times. Yeah, it was good stuff.
Yeah, I bet you could. It's pretty obvious.
It made me...
Yeah, when that semi-truck hit the fucking horse on the side of the road, that was just so, like, how dare they do that? Like,
Chris always cries at the semi-truck scenes.
Yeah.
You should have seen him.
That poor truck.
That poor truck.
It's going to take forever to get that dent pounded out.
You should have seen him watching the very first Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, so the nice thing about Logan is I felt like they really handled the old man aspect. He's old and he's tired, but he's still just as angry as ever. And I thought it was fascinating that they would take an old, bloody warrior and make him take care of a little girl and an old man. He's like responsible for them through the movie. It was a smart move just for the storytelling.
I haven't played God of War, but it sounds like it's the same thing.
based on all the memes.
With that, I haven't played God of War, but I did watch basically 9 hours of video on YouTube about it. Basically, the whole game, but without like the actual, like, you know, boring parts of the gameplay. Just all the stuff that is story relevant and everything put in. And it ended up being like a 9-hour video, and I did did watch that. And it was fucking amazing.
You Gen Zers and your Let's Plays.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was either that or, you know, Spider-Man married to Elsa. So,
Yeah, I gotta go to Kansas next month for training, so I can learn how to be a master electrician, so Wes will be attracted to me. And,
nice.
But I was thinking about picking God of War up and playing that because I'm gonna be there for fucking 2 weeks, hiding out in a hotel. So,
wow,
that might be my plan. I definitely want to play that. I'm so bad at buying shit when it comes out.
Well, something I watched recently that I really liked, and I pray to God you guys can hear me.
Yep.
But Jen and I watched Ozark, a Netflix series, and it was so good, really intense.
Yeah, that is a good show.
And I really hope that a second season comes out soon.
The thing I liked about Ozark is it's not one of those shows where you're like, listen, you just got to give it a chance. You know, just get to episode 5, you'll love it. Right, it's like Ozark had me hooked from episode 1, like kicked off hard and just carried me through.
Yeah, and it's just instantly grimy. Like there's no fucking like foreplay into the shittiness of that show. It starts off as a fucking train wreck and it stays like that. Right. It's like, no, you're gonna feel like shit the whole time you're watching this show, dude.
Have you seen it, Chris? Oh, you don't watch shows very often.
Yeah, not really. Yeah, the latest one I've seen at Eric Goldberg's behest was the Netflix Queer Eye reboot, which is actually pretty good. Most of those episodes will make you cry as well.
That sounds right up my alley.
Most of the episodes will make me queer eye.
Yeah, they'll make you queer eye really hard.
The joke made me cry.
And they'll make you really hard. I mean, you know, some sexy dude action on there.
I might pass.
Just if you start getting excited, just put on Glow instead.
Yeah, there you go.
My wife and I have been watching that, and it is a decent show. It's fine.
Yeah, my wife watched that one and said it was really good. I should check it out.
Here's the other problem with this topic, is you're talking about current movies. I have spent the last month... Hold on, I can turn this off. Stupid Netflix is autoplaying shit. I have spent the last month going through Cheers for the first time.
Oh, nice. I love that. Well, and then also I want to add something onto your statement too. You also spent the last 10 minutes talking about everything that you mentioned was from last year. And so...
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
All right, well, let me tell you about Cheers.
So for the folks at home that don't know,
this is another time capsule episode. So
yeah, this is just our podcast has just been rebranded into a Cheers episode by episode recap show.
So I'll only mention one thing for Cheers. I had no idea that Frasier was a spin-off show. So you can, and I've enjoyed Frasier. I've been watching Frasier for like 2 seasons or so. I'm about that far in, and you can imagine my surprise when he showed up in season 3 of Cheers, and I thought to myself, "Wow, a crossover! This is so cool!" And then he showed up in the next one, and I thought something's weird here, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, it only came out like 15 years before.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good for lasting 15 years with no spoilers.
Yeah, and Kelsey Grammer still looked like the exact same age. Which he looked... It's not that he didn't age, it's that he aged so much before he was on Cheers that he didn't age afterwards.
Wasn't Frasier one of the only spin-off shows that was more... It was not as more successful, but it was as successful as the original show?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It definitely helped that Cheers had fallen off so much after their, I think, 4th or 5th season, that for their last maybe 6 years they weren't the greatest show ever, but they were still pretty good. And then so Frasier just had a pretty easy time keeping up with that. But Frasier turned into a pretty good show on its own, and
yeah,
I always liked it.
Are you not a superhero guy, Jared?
Not really. Once in a while I'll watch one, but I don't follow the Marvel movies or any of that stuff really.
Okay. Man,
we made a huge mistake having you on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It turns out I'm just a grouch.
No, man, I'm trying to think, and I hate to admit this, but you might have a valid point. I'm looking through this stuff thinking, boy, let me see what's come out recently.
I think the only new movie I went and saw this year was Super Troopers 2.
I saw that in the theater. I thought
it was good. I liked it. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
fine. A lot of making fun of Canadians in it.
Some parts of it I think were even funnier than the first one. Yeah, there's nothing I love more than making fun of Canadians, and so that movie just had me right from the get-go.
What's that horror movie? Hereditary. Hereditary. That's been getting a ton of hype.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
I wanted to watch it in theaters, but we live in a small town, so I saw it in there, and then I checked back next week to go watch it, and it was already gone.
I was born in a small town.
Yeah, now that you mentioned that, I lied because I also saw Action Point, that Johnny Knoxville movie, because I was debating between seeing that and Hereditary. And me and my wife decided that we didn't want to fall asleep in a movie theater watching a horror movie, because usually that's what happens.
So I've noticed with horror movies for the last probably 15 years, it may even have been going on even before that, but they're almost not even horror movies anymore, except in the first act, where it's they're a horror movie and then they turn into an action movie by the end, and so nothing scares you towards the end of the movie.
Or it's just jump scares and bullshit.
Yeah.
No, so that's why I'm really excited about Hereditary, because from the reviews I've seen, they said it's unconventional and it doesn't rely on tropes as much.
There's certain movies that came out, horror movies that came out recently, that I always get a lot of steam behind them, and then I was let down by. I don't know if you guys watched Witch. That movie was a fucking snooze. Babadook, everybody
was amazing.
It didn't do anything for me, man. Same thing with Babadook. Everyone's, oh, you gotta see this movie, it's so great. I watched it, I'm I just want to fucking strangle this kid.
Yeah. There's some that are definitely a slow burn. You gotta be in it for the long haul, which is one of those. Another one is A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. That was a slow one. I really liked it, but boy.
Yeah, they could have, picked up the pace with, the girl hoverboarded home at night.
Dude, I'm even browsing through DVDs getting released now after they've already been in theaters and stuff, and it's just, I'm not seeing a lot. You might be right, maybe we're having a dry spell. I'm sure if anybody like KJ's listening, he'll be like, but what about...
Let's get Mark Boggio's opinion.
Yeah.
And add another hour onto the show.
Mark Boggio, if you're listening, you should follow us on Twitter. Give us your thoughts.
I mean, our show can just keep on going until Tim gets his internet back up, because right now our D&D podcast is on hiatus.
That's true.
Also, Mark, please use protection. You keep posting about all these fornications. I really think you should probably be careful. God bless you.
Hashtag stump condom.
Alright, I'm gonna pull up some best 2018 lists and we'll see if we find anything. In the meantime, maybe we should jump into video games. There were a few from the E3 promos that I actually am looking forward to. I thought they looked pretty cool. I would just have to remember what they are. One is obviously the one from Sucker Punch. I gotta promote that. But let's see. Yeah, top 10 movies of 2018. Superheroes.
Yeah.
Of course. God damn it.
And Ready Player One.
I love.
I have that sitting on my Plex account. I haven't watched it yet.
I didn't love it. I thought that it was, I'm not going to say I disliked it. I just thought that it was a little bit, kind of what you mentioned, Chris. It just kind of seemed like turned into a generic action to me.
Yeah, it was bound to be. Like, there's no way that they could have adapted the actual book any more faithfully without just, putting people to sleep in it. Because, like, a lot of the book just slows the fuck down. And then also just, I don't know how many people would have been knocking down the doors to the theater to watch someone play, Pac-Man all the way through for, a significant portion of the movie. And so, yeah, I get what they did, but I still enjoyed it a lot.
Is it like having that same problem that like Scott Pilgrim had or like Kick-Ass had, where it's like, yeah, if you read the book, you're gonna like all this shit because you know what it is, but like if you're just an average person who stumbled into this movie, you're just kind of like, I don't know, it's okay.
I kind of think the opposite. I think for the general movie-going audience, like they're gonna like it because of what it actually is, and then like I think the more the people that read the book and loved the book are going to be let down because they changed so much. But like I said, they had to. I mean, I don't see how anybody could go into that movie thinking that it would have been exactly the way that the book went.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make some time to watch that this week.
Yeah, and if you like it, definitely get the Audible of the book because it's great. Unless you don't like what's his name, Wesley from Star Trek Next Generation.
Will Wheaton?
I don't think I'm gonna leave him.
Will Wheaton, that's him. Yeah,
he's that guy that always starts shit with Jonah Ray on the internet. I think.
Yeah, he does that quite a bit.
My Discord froze for a little while.
So you're talking about you had mentioned E3. Yeah, the only thing I get from that, it really like blew my dick out the back of my shoes was fucking Cyberpunk, of course. Everything else was just kind of like, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, and I still pre-ordered fucking Fallout like an asshole, just mostly so I can get into that beta and like see how bad it sucks. But I'm absolutely not looking forward to playing that game online with people.
Let me see what we got here. I was really excited to see a new Battletoads game, just for nostalgia's sake.
Did they show anything of it?
Not really.
Or they just announce it, right?
Yeah.
What else was there? Dying Light 2? That looks pretty good.
Devil May Cry 5, I like those games.
Are those kind of like how God of War used to be, just like slasher type of beat 'em up games?
They're usually pretty hard, at least 1, 2, and 3 were. They're very over the top as far as the action goes. Like, there's this one scene, because he's kind of got superpowers, so there's this one scene where this lady fires a rocket at him and he starts surfing around on it. It's just very stylized. And you end up fighting a lot. The boss's battles are pretty intense. Like, you fight, what's the three-headed dog's name?
Cerberus?
Yeah, you fight him, and the weapons are usually pretty awesome. You unlock these new weapons, and you can chain things together for your fighting styles, and it's just, yeah, it's just third person. No, you just go around and bash stuff.
Kind of like Bayonetta a little bit.
I think that's a good analogy. Yeah, good comparison. I haven't played Bayonetta, but from what I've seen, it seems very similar. Very fast paced.
Yeah, I only played those on Wii U because there's literally no other fucking games to play on that thing. So.
Yeah, I think those are the big ones that got me. Looking through this list here, and there's a lot of other big titles. I just have never gotten into them. Like,
Did A Quiet Place come out this year, or was that a 2017 movie?
Oh, so I think I cut out when I mentioned that one, but yeah, that was out this year.
Did that have
Okay, yeah,
Jim,
that one was decent.
I haven't heard of that one.
Jim from The Office?
It's a horror.
It was
Yeah.
a joke. It's one of those that Brian will get tomorrow when he's, putting the production together. I always like try to leave some in there that'll go over Brian's head immediately, but then he gets.
I usually message him in the chat later. I'm like laughing, and I'll reference the joke, and everybody will be like, "Yep, that was a good one back then." What kind of music do you usually like?
It depends. Like, majority of the time, I'm always going back to just like punk and emo music. You know, and when I say emo music, I'm talking about like fucking like Midwest shit like Braid and bands of that ilk. You know, like there's like a lot of that revival stuff that's happening now. That's good. There's a band called Free Throw that's really worth your time if you're into that type of shit. But that's kind of it, man. Like, yeah, jump into that. Menzingers, those types of bands.
Yeah. It could be that because I haven't paid enough attention, but one thing I noticed is that a lot of the genres I liked, especially in 2000s in that era, they were beat to death. Everybody did it, and they all started to sound the same. And then it never really evolved. Like 90s to 2000, there was huge evolution, and then after that, it just seemed to kind of be all the same. And so I've had to look around to new areas. Like I got into trip hop and started listening to Massive Attack and stuff because the hardcore scene just wasn't really providing a lot of fresh stuff for me.
Yeah, the hardcore scene's been kind of strange. Like, it's either like it's super fucking brutal, where it's like basically like power violence music, or it's like it almost feels like a fucking like there's like this new wave. I mean, this new metal type of sound that's coming back. There's this band called Vane that everyone's losing their shit over right now, who just put out an album called Error Zone, and it's good. It's a heavy album, but dude, like if you told me this thing came out in fucking 1998, I'd believe you. Like it's a strange record, but they're blowing it up, I guess. Like people are fucking flipping their records on eBay for $300-$400 and shit. So
I'll have to check that one out. You should jump on I don't know if we've been having them lately because I've been so busy, but every once in a while we'll have a jukebox session in the group chat in the Discord, and we'll all just like put music into the queue and listen to it together and talk about it and bullshit and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
So like,
I've been wanting to.
Lately,
go ahead.
Well, lately, I've been getting into like these SoundCloud rappers. Like there's this one XXXTentacion, and he's just fucking amazing. And I mean, dude, that guy could just live for fucking ever, and I would be happy. Like, I just can't get enough of it.
XXXTentacion. Oh man.
I mean, I hope nothing ever happens to that guy.
Megan, who was on the episode last week, kind of recruited me to do some vocals for her band, and I've been having some fun with it. And it's pretty trip hoppy, and so my vocals have been a little bit in the style of Massive Attack or Radiohead, and I might do a few more songs for her. That's been fun.
So trip hop, is that just more like atmospheric kind of rock music, or is it like?
It is, there's a different variations of it. A lot of times they'll take a hip hop beat, and then they'll set music, or sometimes trancey vocals, or sometimes you can have like melodic songs, and a lot of times they pull out like old samples from radio shows back in the 30s and stuff, and use that.
Okay, so it's kind of like bedroom pop, somewhat.
Not sure.
Yeah, they kind of do that more. It's like they'll have like a looping drum beat, kind of like a looping clean guitar part over it, and then. Yeah, like some atmospheric type of samples or.
Yeah. We need Michael Lozano on the show right now because he would correct us all.
10 hours later.
But yeah, no, you're totally right about like late 90s, early 2000s. A lot of that, they call it the Epiphat sound because all the fucking bands on Epitaph and Fat Records sound the same. But Fat Wreck has actually been putting out some pretty good stuff lately. So like they get a decent roster nowadays.
You guys ever heard of a guy called Chopin? I've listened to some of his stuff. He's pretty good.
Is this another SoundCloud rapper?
Yeah.
Rapist?
Something like that.
Yeah, I hope he never dies either.
You know what I'll do is I'll just forward you guys. I'll forward you guys all the DMs I get on Twitter of SoundCloud rappers. I'll just send them right to the CLC.
Oh, perfect.
CLC Twitter account, so you guys can check.
Just for Chris. I'm gonna post in the Discord chat or the podcast chat later. I'll be like, Chris, I just got this joke, and he'll be like crying. He'll be like, XXX Temptation died. I just learned.
Wait, he what?
No, I'm just messing.
Oh. Like I had a heart palpitation there.
You know how those rappers
XXX palpitation.
I legit didn't know how to pronounce that guy's name until right now.
It's not.
No, we talked about him a couple weeks ago, and I called him XXX Tentacoin.
It's like some type of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
For
man, we could totally start a cryptocurrency in his honor.
I believe his name is XXX Jaramillo.
Nice.
Damn it! I should use that for my Discord name.
Didn't some rapper from the '90s just got a crypto coin? Oh yeah, Akon has Acoin now.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that'll be the next big thing. All the old school rappers will start getting crypto coins. Snoop Dogg will have Snoop Dogg.
You need to start a hashtag trend for that on Twitter. That's a good one.
Well, it's hard to start a hashtag when you only have 30 subscribers.
To everybody listening, you all need to get Twitter accounts and blow this shit up.
That's at the Lost Context.
I'll do what I can to spread the word of the hashtag. But I believe all my followers are I'm gonna say 85% of them are probably dead now.
Oh wow.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'll pour out some of my green tea for him.
You came from some high school.
Which high school? Columbine?
Oh.
I wish Blake was...
I only said Columbine because I forgot the name of all the more recent ones.
I wish Blake was still around because he was always really up to date on current rappers and stuff, and he would sometimes send me guys that I'd never even heard of, and I'd be like, all right, I'm into it, but he's kind of not really around anymore.
Yeah, he did 2 episodes of the rap news, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
Just a little 5-minute little blurb about the latest beefs between rap artists and stuff, and then he hung it up. Is he even still doing the gaming podcast, or is that over too?
Nope, they quit.
Oh man,
that's probably how most startups end. Just try to get a team together, and then you miss 1 week, and then it's just all derails. Incidentally,
like Tim's Saturday Groove.
So, did you ever do anything on your podcast, Jared, besides just conversing? Did you ever have any segments or things that you did or did you mostly just talk?
We did on the older show, we would do I can't even remember the type of stupid fucking games that we did before, but we kind of moved away from that. The only thing we would really do on the last show I did was something that I borrowed from a podcast called Vomitus Prime that disappeared sometime around 2009, which is one of the best fucking shows, just period, one of the best podcasts I've ever heard. If you guys are interested in hearing that, me and a few of the other fans started archiving all the shit that we had still. It's on Facebook. If you look up Vomitus Prime Reunited, you can find the archive on there. But they used to play a game on there that I kind of swooped on from them, but we called it the Vomitus Prime Memorial whatever. We called it Tuber False, and basically what it would be is I would just get names of actual porns off of random fucking tube sites, and then I would make up 5 of them. So I would I'd read one that's a real one or one's a fake one, and Cameron, the co-host, would have to say if it's Tuber False.
I was listening to we were trying to kind of do some cross promoting with some other smaller podcasts that were following us on Instagram and stuff, and I came across these guys. I'd have to look up their names, I forget. Maybe I'll post it in the description. It was these guys that were playing this game called Cool Crimes, Not Cool Crimes. And so this guy would read like these news articles about crimes that people did, and then they would all just kind of vote on whether they thought it was a cool crime or a failed crime.
That's a pretty good idea. We also used to do Mad Libs too once in a while. So like I would send him like a list of like, noun for whatever, and he would just record random shit, and then I would plug those into like a story that I wrote, but always be, again, dick and fart jokes. So
yeah, we've done that on our show. The only downside is that it takes a while to get all the words, and either you cut it out or else. And if you cut it out, then it's like just random words. It doesn't really work as Mad Libs. So
yeah,
we do some improv and stuff. I like coming up with segments in games, but I'm always a little hesitant because sometimes when they bomb hard. It's always kind of a Russian roulette.
I kind of like it though when they bomb. Like to me, it's like it's funnier than it is when they work out. Like because it's like there's no fucking turning back now. This is an audio show. We're going through it, dude. Like
yeah.
Have you guys done like any like movie commentaries or anything like that?
No.
That was something that we would do every once in a while. So we would just talk over a fucking movie, and then a listener could sync it up with it if they wanted to fucking do that. But we usually did those like bonus episodes.
So we've done that without recording. I mean, we've watched movies together and stuff.
Really
through
bad
Discord,
ones.
everything with the group. It's been kind of fun.
Yeah. So the Cool Crimes, Not Cool Crimes, those guys are ill-advised and unprepared. That's their podcast name, and they're on SoundCloud and maybe like iTunes or something. They're kind of funny guys. I was hoping to maybe we'll have one of them on our show sometime in the near future.
Yeah, I'll have to check those guys out. I kind of scaled back on the shows I listen to.
What are you listening to these days?
Just pretty much now I'm just listening to stuff that's on Gas Digital. I don't know if you guys have heard of them or not. Yeah, so pretty much all Luis J. Gomez's network. So like Tim Dillon's show is really good. Of course, Dave Smith, Part of the Problem, is really good.
They just
Legion
fucking added Michael Malice, who is a goddamn superhero.
Yeah, his show is fucking phenomenal on there too. I really like it a lot.
Nice.
I didn't know Joe Mackey was like a conservative. It was very weird to find that out. But yeah, pretty much just those. I don't know if you guys listen to Come Town. That's a great show.
I haven't yet, but I've heard them come on Skanks and a bunch of other Gas Digital.
Yeah, dude, you got it.
Yeah.
Even just jump on YouTube and just listen to some of the excerpts on there. You're gonna be like, oh fuck, this is hilarious. And then of course, like Mediocre Shows, like a podcast I've fucking listened to ever since I got into these. They've been around for well over a decade now.
Jeez.
Based out of Philadelphia, but yeah, they're fucking hilarious.
That's cool.
Yeah, let's see what I got in my queue here. Some of the bigger ones that I used to like religiously listen to, I've kind of dropped off from, and then I've been kind of picking up some more. Like I listen to a bunch of D&D stuff, so I'm not going to bore y'all with that kind of thing. But I just recently got into My Brother and Me by the McElroy brothers, and that shit is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, they're funny dudes.
And then, Penn Jillette, Penn Sunday School is awesome.
Yeah, I've checked that out before.
Yeah.
Brian, if you're looking for
Tom Cruise or Tom Woods, I don't know why I keep on calling him Tom Cruise. That would be an interesting podcast. That dude needs to get on that.
Tom Cruise did a libertarian podcast.
Fuck, dude. Tell us all about Xenu and the fucking midichlorians and all the fucking space volcanoes and shit. Yeah, and then there's one that has been really picking up steam lately. It's called the I podcast, like the AI podcast. I think it's pronounced I though, or maybe it's like A.
Hey, that's what it is. A.
The AE podcast.
It stars Alex Insdorf. That's AI, Alex Insdorf, and it's called the A podcast.
Yeah. It's basically like a Henry Winkler like retrospective where he goes through all the past works of the actor Henry Winkler that started as Arthur Fonzarelli, the Fonz on Happy Days, and went on to do other things that were less good.
Yeah, Waterboy.
Yeah. But just remember that show. It's the AE podcast by Alex Indoors.
If I'm interested in what?
Oh, there's a show about hardcore music in general called Axe to Grind that you might enjoy.
Oh, right on. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's hosted by all the dudes are from bands. I don't know which bands two of the other guys are from, but Patrick Kinlan from Self Defense Family and Drug Church is one of the hosts on there. It's pretty nice. So they just it's nice hearing guys from bands talk shit on other bands and like not give a fuck about it, because it's like that's how all musicians are. Like that's all they fucking do, you know.
I mean, it's kind of what we were doing earlier when we spent about like 15 minutes talking shit about Colin Moore. Which, Colin, you're always welcome on our show. Like, you know, we pretty much owe our start to you. So if you hear this by any means, reach out and we'll have you on. You know, and you'll get that amazing, lost context bump that everybody keeps talking about. You'll get about 30 followers that you had before, and then they probably stopped following you at some point, and then are going to follow you again.
Oh man. We're coming up on our sort of time that we don't really hold to very strictly, so I'm gonna let our host close us off, I think.
Okay. We gotta go around. We gotta do the round table of plugs, correct?
Of course, sure.
Is that
yeah,
a
I guess so.
It's a thing now. We did it maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and then we stopped.
Oh, wait.
And
did Jared get a chance to say the N-word?
Oh, would you like to say the N-word?
No, we're not doing that anymore. Let's move on from that.
If I had a helium balloon, I would do it because it would be hilarious. But
Chris is all paranoid now that we're on Twitter.
The SJW.
Yeah, we already got a strike on YouTube. Like, you know, when you only have a following of 30, you kind of need to be careful.
God, Chris, you're such a cunt. Didn't I just, as soon as you told me about Legion of Skanks, well, not as soon, but as soon as I finally checked them out, they just lost their whole YouTube channel.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
Like, the whole thing just got deleted, all their videos erased, everything gone.
Yeah, and it's funny because that's like right when they introduce hate speech to the bear, so it's like...
Yeah. What's funny is that probably wasn't even it. I think it was just that they had Owen Benjamin on.
Well, yeah, I mean, even at this point, too, I'm like, well, I don't even know why I'm paying have a gas digital subscription when they just put everything for free on fucking YouTube now.
Yeah.
I don't even know what my handles are.
I do. Yours is real easy. If you want to follow Brian, it's at Manly Brian.
There you go.
Because that's obviously not some sort of front for...
There's zero compensation there. It's very accurate.
And then, and if you'd like to follow me, it's at Chris Riley LCP. And then following the show is at The Lost Context that I've said several times.
Yeah.
Tim has this weird one. He's not on the show today, but I would like to plug him if I can fucking find him.
My Instagram.
He's got the weirdest...
My Instagram, I actually changed it up. My Instagram handle is Brian_Bridges.
I thought you were going to say Brian_Manly.
But my Snapchat is Manly Brian, so that's tried and true, traditional.
Oh yeah, so Tim Demuse, if he's not here today, but if you wanted to follow him, it's at Ida Grab Your Gun. Whatever the fuck that means. And the name above it, instead of being Tim Demuse, so you'd know if you were following the right person, says Poncho Man Sandy Package.
Classic Tim.
If you want to follow me, go to Instagram and look for Kim Jong Ian, and that's where you'll find me. And give me a follow. I would appreciate it.
You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Shitty Rambo. One word. I still tweet once in a great while, but it's. I don't want to be talking about the good old days, but yeah, I hop on there every so often. Other than that, the only other thing I could plug is my band, Super Crimes. You You can hear us on YouTube or Bandcamp or Facebook or whatever.
Oh, I should plug hold on. I pull it back up. My debut with Megan's band is under... What was it called, Chris?
Acid Head Radio?
Acid Head Radio.
Which, here, let me see what the Twitter handle for that one is, because I did follow it earlier.
It's just Acid Head Radio.
I think I'm the only one following it right now.
At Acid Head Radio.
No, there's 2 followers.
It's me.
Yeah, at Acid Head Radio.
I'm number 2.
Brian.
Yeah, you get to hear my beautiful voice sometime soon when they release it.
We gotta do collaboration, dude. Split EP.
I'm not actually in the band.
Also, for anybody interested, follow Mark Normand on Twitter, because he's fucking hilarious.
I love that him and Joe List do a podcast and they both talk exactly the same.
Oh god, I didn't know that, but that is fucking hilarious.
It's called Tuesdays with Stories. It's worth checking out.
Should be called
Oh, fuck.
The greatest thing about his tweets is that you automatically read them in his voice, and it's just fucking hilarious.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
You seem like a pretty experienced host.
I'm sure I rambled a lot. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be like, "Who's this lispy, rambling, stuttering asshole?" And I just want you to know that I agree with every judgment you have about me.
I think your fears are completely unfounded. There is not going to be a lot of people doing anything on the show.
You sound so light, and it amazes me.
Wesley says that about every single person of ethnic origins.
He's just saying because I'm an
Wesley
electrician.
just asked a question there.
If you want to search online for the Lost Context podcast, here are the places you can find us: iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. YouTube also has occasional content besides just the podcast episodes. We'd be grateful for reviews on places like iTunes to help improve our visibility there. Also, look us up at patreon.com/lostcontext if you'd like to help support the show. Lastly, the CLC Facebook group is a fun place to hang out. Sometimes it's hidden, so if you'd like an invite, feel free to message us on any of our social media or podcast platforms. We have Discord events together, such as movie nights and jukebox music and chat sessions. Who knows, you yourself could even end up on this podcast with us. And that's all for this episode. We'll see you on the next one.